Today I messed up by dropping one of the sharpest blades in existence. This happened about 30 years ago when I was doing my PhD in tissue biology. A little background: in the lab we use something called microtome blades. For those that don't know, it's a blade that is so sharp it's used to create 1 micron thin slices of tissues that are literally less than 1 cell layer thick to be studied under a microscope. So yeah, pretty sharp. They weigh a little more than a small kitchen knife, taper out toward the non-cutting ends so they can be sharpened for many years. I was taking it back to the lab after it was just sharpened, and usually we carry it in a special container, partly for safety, but also if it gets dropped the vibrations will create microscopic bends/fractures in the blade that cause it to cut unevenly and the blade is essentially ruined. As fate would have it, I forgot to bring the case and was too lazy to go back across campus to get one, so I just carried the blade by hand. Another detail is that since day one of working with these blades, it is indoctrinated in us that we are to never drop them, because they are very expensive to replace. Nowadays they are cheaper to manufacture and even come as disposables, but back in 1980s money it was several $100 and it would delay your research by several weeks while a new one was shipped. With that in mind, as I entered the main hallway of the biology department, the blade slipped out of my hand and, in a split second, I reached down to catch it, maybe after it fell about 1 foot. Unfortunately I caught the blade sharp side down and it instantly severed 3 tendons in the palm of my hand. I immediately noticed I couldn't close my index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. It was very strange, because there was very little blood at first, but after 5 seconds bright red blood started pouring down my hand. Before I knew it, the white tile floor of the hallway I was standing on had a rapidly spreading pool of blood. It all happened so fast I hadn't fully comprehended what I was experiencing. Another fortuitous part of this story is that one of the anatomy professors saw all this happen and immediately rushed over to hold pressure on my radial and ulnar arteries to control the bleeding. I ended up having surgery to reattach the arteries and the tendons. After waking up after surgery I was relieved, but noticed they had a blood bag connected to my fore. The nurse said I lost quite a bit of blood and had to be transfused during the surgery. I wish this was the part of the story where I tell you that I had an uneventful recovery. However, after the surgery I started having severe fevers and chills, terrible back pain, my urine was a muddy dark brown color, and I could barely catch my breath. Turns out the lab person who drew my blood mislabeled the tubes and I was transfused with the wrong blood type. I ended up staying in the ICU for a week, almost had complete kidney failure and had severe pulmonary edema. I vividly remember the doctors saying that my kidneys were most likely in complete failure and I would have to have lifelong dialysis or a transplant. Fortunately they caught the transfusion reaction before most of the blood was infused and I never had to start dialysis. Too long. Didn't read. Dropped one of the sharpest blades in existence, caught it before it hit the ground, it severed most of the tendons and arteries in my hand. In the hospital I was given the wrong blood type, survived severe pulmonary edema, and almost lost both of my kidneys in the process. Today I messed up by totally mishandling my cake day, making me afraid of Reddit. This happened today. I have one FU in my life which I find funny and wanted to share. I, being an absolute amateur at Reddit with only one successful post in 2 years, tried to strategize and save it for my cake day. Clever, isn't it? So I posted it. It got auto-removed for a good reason. I fixed it and posted it again, it got auto-removed for an even better reason I hadn't known about. So I made a post about failing to post to Today I Messed Up. Guess what, it was removed for yet another reason I hadn't known about. I fixed the failed post about failing to post, posted it, and it was downvoted immediately. And suddenly I was overly afraid to break another rule I just learned about, that you are not allowed to republish banned content, which might result in me being permanently banned from Today I Messed Up, so I quickly deleted it, like a teenager caught in an awkward situation. Seeing only afterwards that I had 2 friendly comments already. I am 47 years old, BTW. I give up posting to Reddit. Edit. Thank you kind internet strangers for making this such an enjoyable cake day experience. And thank you a lot for my first ever award thingies. Too long. Didn't read. I am too stupid to post to Reddit. Today I messed up by breaking guy code by telling the wife things she doesn't need to know. About 2 years into dating, she went through a phase of asking a lot of weird questions. I enjoyed it as it was fun to talk about dicks and balls and the joys of living with them day to day. She asked if it was ever in the way or uncomfortable. Absolutely. All the time. For instance, if you sit in the mall and watch people walk around the mall on a warm day, watch for guys to take one awkward long step. That means their nuts are sticking to their leg and that long step peels them off in a similar fashion and sound as pulling open Velcro. That was almost 8 years ago. Yesterday we were at the mall and she gets absurdly excited every time she sees it, enough to make them notice a couple times and smile and wave like she thinks they're famous. And for that, I'm sorry guys. It's a hilariously awkward thing for her to be excited about, but that's why I married her. Too long. Didn't read. Broke guy code by spilling the secret about sticking ball sacks to your leg and taking the long step to develcro your sweaty scrotum from your leg. Now she's called it out every time she sees it for the last 8 years.